Hey there, Islanders. I'm Miss Griggs, your material science teacher. In this video, I'm going to be going over the water lock lab. So what you need for this lab is you need to get your MST lab supplies kit, and in that bag, you need to find this lab kit, which says water lock lab supplies, sodium polyacrylate, and a small cup. You also need to find the handout labeled SO1 Demo Lab Water Lock Lab. You can find this in your blue folder, blue solid unit folder, or you can find a copy on Schoology. Okay, so what you're going to do right now is I'm going to show you the video about the material science lab safety, and it's going to give you a tour of the safety equipment in the material science lab. And then we're going to do the lab together. Okay. Hey there, Islanders. Miss Griggs here. And in this video, I'm going to give you a tour of our safety equipment in the material science classroom. So first off is our emergency shutoffs. So if ever we're working with our gas propane welding stations, we need to shut off the gas quickly, we would smash this button. And if we are ever working with our, we need to shut off our power from our workshop area, these are the buttons we would push. I've never had to push the buttons. Let's not make that thing. Then we have in here is our kiln room. Some really important warning information is whenever we're using the kilns, if you see a red hole, a red glowing through the hole of the kilns, because you can see here on the kilns, they have that little hole right there, okay? If that's glowing red, that means they are hot, hot, hot. And they get up to about I think these ones get up to 1,000 degrees, okay? So make sure you are aware when those are on. And typically, if they are on, this sign will say kilns in use, okay? Also want to bring your attention to our Surround Yourself with Safety poster, which is really important because this tells us how we should dress or some safety precautions that we should take with our own personal protection equipment, or PPE, okay? So if you have long hair, you always want to have it pulled back. We always want to wear goggles over our eyes. We don't want to have any dangling loose jewelry. We want to wear gloves, lab coat, long pants, closed-toed shoes. Now, if you don't have a long lab coat, you just want to make sure that you have on long sleeves that aren't baggy. Okay, so now we're going to go out of the kiln room into the classroom here. And over here, we have our eye wash station, which is also connected to our shower, safety shower. So if you ever get anything in your eyes or on your clothes or on your person that is going to burn through your skin and it's going to hurt or damage yourself, you're going to use the eye wash station. Now we use the eye wash station by pushing this little paddle. I'm not going to do that right now, but what happens is the water flows up, okay? And then if you ever have to use the safety shower, you just pull this triangle down on yourself and it dumps 500 gallons of water on you. Hey there, Islanders, Miss Griggs here, and I'm going to demonstrate how to use our eye wash station. This is our eye wash station here. You can see we have two yellow nozzles that you would put your face down in, like so, if you got anything in your eyes. But we shouldn't be getting anything in our eyes because we're wearing our goggles, right? But just in case, we have the eye wash station here, in case we do get something in our eyes. So you're going to come to the eye wash station, put your head down like this, and you're going to push the paddle towards the wall, and you'll see that water comes up and flushes out your eyes. You can also see that the water comes down onto the floor. And look, it's making a mess. But we do have a drain, and it's okay to make a mess if you're hurt. So, okay, moving over here, very important container is our broken glass container. We do work with glass quite a bit in the polymers unit, or no, sorry, the ceramics unit, not polymers. And that is where we put all of our broken glass. Other important things are our safety symbols. We'll be going over this more extensively, but there's some really important ones to make sure that you know are things like fire, poison, personally could hurt you or affect the environment, things like that. And we have lots of rules around here that we have posted about our different safety requirements and things like that. Also over here is our chemical storage closet where no students are allowed to come in here. Okay, in this closet we house our corrosives, our flammables, and things of that nature. Okay, we also have our sinks, which are also very important to reduce the spread of viruses by washing our hands and things of that nature. So those are there for you to use at any point during the classroom. If we move on back here to our welding station area, see here's another safety poster, always looking for hazards, things of that nature. We have our ventilation system right here. Sometimes I might ask you to turn the ventilation fan on. These will turn on various fans that circulate air through the room. Probably be using those if we come back in person. And over here we have our goggle sterilizer. Okay, we will sterilize our goggles between each use, or if you want, you can use your own personal set of goggles. Another safety poster. We love the safety posters in this room. Check me out. I'm wearing my goggles over my eyes like a... Hey Islanders, Miss Griggs here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you properly wear safety goggles. So, we always want to make sure that our goggles are over our eyes and glasses, just like this. Sometimes they'll get a little foggy, so you can use these little vents to pop open and let some of that condensation out. You can also tighten your goggles by pulling the elastics here. Now, some things we don't want to do with our goggles is wear them up here because you know what? They're not doing their job up there. They are there to protect your eyes. We also don't want to wear them around our chin or our neck, like things like that. It's very important that we wear our safety goggles so that if any chemicals or debris get kicked up, they could get in our eyes, and these are going to protect us from those hazards. It's also really important that you make sure your partner is wearing their goggles safely. Accountability is really important. Hey Islanders, Miss Griggs here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the fire extinguisher. This is one of the skills that I will teach you in material science if we were in person, but I'll teach it to you over video. So you have four main parts that you need to remember when it comes to the fire extinguisher. We have the hose, we have the handle that you would squeeze, the pin, which is right here, see that pin? And then you have the cylinder. The cylinder houses the chemicals that would put the fire out. Typically it's going to be some type of carbon-based compound to quench out the oxygen from the fire. So in order to operate this, you would pull the pin out, point the hose at the base of the fire, and you would squeeze the handle and the chemical would come out. And you always want to use it in a sweeping motion like this at the base of the fire. Important if we do catch fire, but like I said, I've never had to use them. Also over here we have our gloves. Oftentimes we'll have to use gloves for various labs. We have aprons and things of that nature, hot hands, gloves, like that, masks. We even have full-on face shields for whenever we do anything with welding, things of that nature. Also over here in terms of safety, we do have our classroom red backpack that I use whenever we have a drill or things like that. I take that with me. I think that's it in terms of safety equipment in the classroom. We'll be going over more about safety in the safety contract and a lab that we do around safety. So if you guys have any questions about safety, please let me know by emailing me, and have a good day, and I'll see you in class. Bye. All right, now that you've watched the video about the lab safety equipment, how to use it, and those important things, we're going to now do the first part of the water lock lab. So I'm actually going to switch over to my document cam. Let me zoom in on this document. Oops, that's a little too much. Too much zoom, Griggs. There we go. Figure this out. Okay. Get that lined up. Okay, there we go. All right. So you can write your name on it. I am Ms. Griggs. And your period. You're either in second period or you're in third period. Okay, So now we're going to draw a diagram of all of the safety gear just so we know exactly where it is. So if this is my classroom, I'm going to have the back of my, or the top of my square be the welding stations. Okay, and then in the back of the classroom, if these are my welding stations, right here, all right, just to the right of my welding stations, I have that big white cabinet, and that is my goggle sterilizer. Okay, and next to my goggle sterilizer, I had a red cabinet, and it had the fire blanket in it. All right, and on top of my red fire cabinet, I had my fire extinguisher. I'm just going to use a circle to represent my fire extinguisher. And that's all the safety equipment that was in the back of the classroom. Now, if we look at the front of the classroom, and we're just going to pretend that the bottom of this rectangle is the front boards. All right, you have your door over here. And on the wall, next to the front boards, there were two switches, two circle switches. They were two red switches, or rather, let's not call them switches, let's call them buttons, because that's what they really are, buttons. Okay, and those were the emergency gas and electrical shutoffs. Okay, and then just to, that was right next to the door to the kiln room, so I'm just going to write kiln room. One thing that I didn't point out in the video was where the first aid kit was. And it is under the telephone, under the class phone. Okay, and then our last important piece of safety equipment, well, there's actually two, I guess. We had our safety shower and eye wash station. I'm just doing that as a circle and a square. If you want to draw it as a shower, you can do it as a shower, but I'm just doing it as a circle and a square. And this was by safety, shower, and eye wash station. Okay, and there's one more piece of safety equipment that I'm going to point out, and that is the two sinks that we have in the classroom. Those are important for washing your hands and keeping viruses in such a way. Okay, so for this lab, we were going to have some PPE if we're in the classroom. Sometimes I make students wear goggles just because it's good practice, but really with this lab, you don't really need them. So today's PPE, we don't need any. We'll say none. Okay. Now, what is PPE? You may have heard this recently in the news, but PPE stands for Personal Protective Equipment. PPE is really important today because of the pandemic, and also it's really important so it keeps us nice and safe, no matter, depending on whatever we're doing. And PPE can be anything from gloves, goggles, headphones, helmets, closed-toed shoes, hard hats, things like that. It's a big variety of PPE depending upon what situation you're in. Okay, so now let's do the actual lab section. Okay, so What you're going to do is you're going to take your baggie, okay, and you need to get some water for this. So if you need to pause the video and grab a cup of water, go ahead and grab a cup of water. This cup is not for the water. This is to put your powder in, okay? So go ahead and pause the video if you need to grab some water. And just basic water from your kitchen sink is fine. Okay. So first thing we have to do is look at our substance and what is in our baggie. So we have two things in our baggie. We have a white powder that's labeled sodium polyacrylate. Okay, that's what this powder is. So the first thing we want to do, it says, what does this substance look like? Okay, so you're going to write down a description of the powder. For me, it looks like a fine white powder, similar to salt or sugar. That's what it looks like to me. You can write down your own description. Number 2 asks you to say, what does it feel like dry? So you're going to open up your baggie. Okay, be gentle when you're opening it. You don't want the powder to go everywhere. And I'm just going to kind of shake some down towards the bottom, and I'm just going to play with it in between my fingers and see what it feels like. So, what does this feel like to me? It kind of feels gritty, like sand. Okay. Any other descriptive words you want to write, go ahead and write that in. And then number 3 says, what is this substance called? Well, we're lucky we have a nice label, so we're going to fill that in. Sodium polyacrylate. Okay, now here's the fun part. Now you're going to take your sodium polyacrylate and you're going to kind of create like a little funnel with your baggie, and you're just going to pour that in there. You can pour all of it in there, or you can just pour half of it and save some to play with later. If you get a little bit on your paper like I did, that's fine. You can just kind of tap it in there. This is a perfectly safe substance. It's not going to hurt you. You might want to make sure it's not near your laptop or anything like that, just to be safe. Okay, so I have to add water to the cup. So I'm going to slowly add some water, and as I add water, I want you to pay attention to what is happening so that you can describe what is happening to the substance. So maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this really well. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just slowly add some water. You can see that it kind of starts to look clearer, like becomes more clear. I'm going to add some more water because it doesn't look like I fully saturated my substance here. Ooh, it's starting to double in size. All right, I'm going to keep going, keep adding some water. I can just keep adding water until I get all the way to the top. Okay, so you can see that my substance expanded quite a bit here, and it kind of became like a jelly substance. You can see it's kind of like a gel now. It's no longer white, it's clear, and it looks like it absorbed the water, but if you can kind of see down here on this edge, you can see that little bit of a line right there. It looks like that maybe that might still be powder down there, so maybe it didn't fully absorb. Maybe if I squeeze it a little bit, it'll get some more water down there. So what happened to it is, as it expanded, I'm going to fill this answer in. So the substance expanded, filled up the cup with gel-like texture. What else? It is now clear. What did the texture feel like after you added water to it? Well, like I said, it feels kind of like a jelly, but, and you can take it out and play with it and feel it. It's kind of slimy, you know, it's kind of squishy, like a slushy. So I would say squishy, slimy, slush, gooey, all those good descriptive words. And then anything else that you can observe, maybe that there's still some white powder on the bottom. Okay. So now what you're going to do for your part of this lab is you are going to look up sodium polyacrylate. You can use the internet, Google search it. Sodium polyacrylate uses, and you're going to fill those three in, find 3 different uses for this compound, this polymer. Okay? And yeah, that's it. So make sure you get those 3 uses for the material and then submit this on Schoology on the assignment file. If you have any questions, email me. I'd be happy to answer them, or you can drop into my office hours and be happy to answer your questions then. Okay, guys, have a good day. Bye. Hey guys, I forgot to tell you how to dispose of your materials. Anything that you have in material science can actually just go straight into the trash can or down the drain. So throw this away in your kitchen garbage. Okay, bye guys. Thanks.